I thought I'd make a short video or a long video. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but nevertheless, I thought I'd make a video about some of my favorite, I, I would guess maybe unnecessary, maybe over the top tools. Not really over the top, but tools that you don't have to have making jewelry. But some things are nice to have. I'm going to start with a saw. When I started jewelry making, and probably a lot of other people really didn't like piercing saws. They're kind of finicky. They break really easy. The blades do. The blades are cheap, but you know, if you buy the really nice blades, they're not super expensive, but they are a whole lot more expensive than the cheaper ones, and they do help as far as not breaking as quickly and cutting a lot better. But the first saw I had, I've given it away at this point. I do not have it anymore. But this was the style saw, and I'm sure most people start off with a saw like this. There's nothing wrong with it. It cuts, it does the job, but I hate it. I could not stand it. I tried to avoid making projects that were really saw intensive because I didn't want to go through the blades. I didn't want to go through the hassle. Setting it up was kind of a pain in the butt. I came across a few other products, and this is the one I went with. I absolutely love this saw. It is worth every penny. It really is. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I just love tools. So I do want to stress that. This is me sharing the tools that I love. And this is definitely one of my favorite new tools. It's a new concepts. It makes life so much easier. So if I'm working on a project, I just loosen it, take it out. If I have a bunch of holes that I'm, going from one hole to the next to try to saw out a design, you just take it apart, you slip the piece of metal down on there, and you slide it up in that hole. Make sure you get the tension out, or get the slack out, tighten that screw, and bam, you're done. I mean, that is awesome. I love this thing. I would not go to any other saw now that I've played with this. I've heard people talk about they couldn't get the tension right and it would loosen on them. The only time I've had this saw loosen on me is when you're sawing, you get silver, gold dust, whatever. You get sawdust down in this little hole. And I never have it happen up here, so that's why I assumed this is what's going on. But the silver dust is getting down in this hole, and when you're tightening it down, the silver dust is getting in between the blade and this bolt, and that's giving it a surface to slip on, basically. So if you blow that out between tightening it up, it will not happen. So you just have to be aware, kind of clean that out every once in a while. It's a very light saw. There's hardly any weight to it. It feels like you're holding nothing. And I didn't really think I would care about that, but it is nice, man. And if you're sawing for a few hours, like an hour or two of a really intricate design, I mean, this thing is really, really, really enjoyable. So the new concepts, I'm not sure which version it is, but I will fully back this company, and I will say that they are extremely worth buying. In my opinion, I love it. Another tool that I love, and it's behind the camera, would be my Durston rolling mill. I understand that you can do without a rolling mill. I just don't understand how. A rolling mill is a staple in my shop. It has become the single most used object that I have, and it has allowed me to do all kinds of projects that I would not be able to do without it. When I get out to the shop and I have something on my mind, a piece of jewelry that I want to create, uh, that roller mill allows me to do whatever I want, right? If I need some silver in a flat sheet, I roll it out. If I need wire, I roll it out. If I want to make a necklace, you know, everything on this, everything on this necklace right here was rolled out through that roller mill. Two other tools that I really liked, or I really like, and it would be the ring bender, which is a Durston ring bender, and a Pepe Tools um, ring reducer, stretcher, and this is the coin ring edition. So I actually bought this one used on eBay from a guy, you know, maybe $150 cheaper than I bought it new, but it was still in the box and it was in perfect condition. He promised me that he had never used it, and um, I took him at his word, and I fully believe that he bought it and he absolutely never took it out of the box because it is in immaculate condition. The the uh, the Delrin ring reducer plate is in perfect condition. Everything came in perfect condition. So this Pepe Tools ring stretcher reducer is awesome. They're a little expensive, but you know, if you're making coin rings, or even if you're stretching and reducing rings, I mean, it is so nice. You don't have to have one of these, right? You can stretch rings using these mandrels. These are fine. They work great, and you know, they're good tools. Ring mandrels are perfectly fine to do almost anything you need to do with them. But this thing is awesome. It really helps you speed up the time on stretching rings and getting them really, you know, perfectly concentric. Um, and then you can do some really neat shapes and stuff with the reducer. This is definitely a tool that I would say you don't have to have, but if you can get one, I love it. Another tool that I use all the time, obviously, is this one right here, and it is the Durston Ring Bender. I really love this tool. It's awesome. It has a 60, well, that's the 90 degree, and it has a 60 degree, and then it has different sizes all the way down to a alt 3, alt, no, alt 8, and goes up to a 24. Yes, a 24. And it can do pretty much everything I want it to do. I've kind of played around with a few different styles of spoon rings. I've engraved a couple shanks and used it. I use this little Alt 8 for bending the the bells on these necklaces, because I've had some big chunky necklaces that I've wanted to put pendants on, and it works perfectly. It has little Delrin inserts and steel inserts, so the Delrin ones, after I engrave it and get it all pretty, I can use the Delrin and it doesn't mar up the finish. I like thick chunky jewelry, and a lot of times if you try to bend that with hand tools and a mandrel, it can be a little bit of a pain. Um, and this really takes every bit of work out of it as far as being a pain. Not necessarily work, but it allows you to work on the more artistic side of things and not really sit there and fool with some of the in my opinion, not so enjoyable aspects of making jewelry. You don't have to have these tools. You know, I another tool that I have that I think is a must-have, is obviously some type a rotary device. I don't use it as much as I probably should, but I use it for polishing, sanding, drilling holes. I've even used it as a little mini lathe before, and it's awesome. The hand pieces are a little pricey. The motors are kind of pricey, but they are great and they last forever. So if you do find yourself using a Dremel tool a lot and you're burning them up, so I used to carve a little bit, and I would use a Dremel tool for long periods of time, and I would find myself burning up the motors on the Dremels. I would burn them up really quick. They'd start smelling like plastic, and before you know it, they wouldn't work anymore. So this little fella, I'm not gonna lie, I actually left it on one night. It might have even been a weekend, and I came in and it was still running. So it's a testament to how well built those motors are. It really wasn't even hot. It didn't smell like burnt motor. It just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. So if you do use a Dremel tool and you use one quite a bit for long periods of time, this is an awesome tool to have. When I was in gunsmithing, there's attachments to this that it makes it even cooler. You can buy drill presses for it. You can buy sanding attachments. So let me show you this. So this is a sanding attachment. It is a sanding belt. So it goes on the top, and you put a small belt around it. This is the belt, and it's spring loaded. So you just put it around there, you push the tension on that, and then you have a mini sanding belt. This thing is so cool, it's not funny. If you need a sanding belt, but you don't need a massive sanding belt, you're doing small little pieces, maybe you're just trying to chamfer the edge of something, this thing is so cool. The attachments that are available for a Foredom, the hand pieces, and the different styles of hand pieces, they are really neat. So, if you have extra money and you're looking into getting a tool, an upgrade, and you have a Dremel tool, then the Foredom is, in my opinion, the only way to go. As far as over-the-top tools, those are kind of some of my main tools that I would say you don't have to have, but if you have them, it really makes things much more enjoyable. But for now, those are some of my tools that you don't necessarily have to have, but I think are really fun if you do have them. They're good tools to have, and they do save time in some of the areas where you don't really need to be spending your time. You all have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.